All right, let's talk about FADPA. It stands for the Fight Against Digital Piracy Act. Catchy, right? This act is designed to combat the rampant issue of digital piracy that has plagued the internet for years. Imagine the internet is a lawless Wild West town where anything goes and rules are more like suggestions. Tumbleweeds of copyrighted content are blowing by, unchecked and unchallenged. Saloons are filled with people sharing files like they're shots of whiskey. It's chaos. Everyone's having a good time, but it's a nightmare for content creators. Now, FADPA rides in, a steely-eyed sheriff with a new badge and a mandate to clean up this town. It's here to bring order to the digital frontier. But like any good Western, things are about to get complicated. The outlaws won't go down without a fight. FADPA wants to tackle online piracy head-on, aiming to make the internet a safer place for legitimate content. It aims to give more power to copyright holders, enabling them to protect their intellectual property more effectively. That way they can actually do something about websites hosting their stuff without permission. It's a game changer for the industry. Think of it this way, it's like giving the sheriff a posse and a whole lot more legal firepower. But hold your horses, there's more to consider. Before we crown FADPA the hero of this digital western, we've got to look at the bigger picture. There are always unintended consequences because, as always, the devil's in the details. The implementation of such laws can be tricky and controversial. And the internet, much like the Wild West, hates being tamed. It's a vast, untamed landscape that resists control. Now, fighting online piracy isn't exactly a new rodeo. It's been a cat-and-mouse game for decades. Governments and organizations have been trying to wrangle this digital outlaw for years. Remember SOPA and PIPA? Those controversial bills sparked massive protests and debates. Yeah, those bills back in the day caused a bigger internet meltdown than a cat video compilation playing on repeat. But times are changing, and so are the strategies. Countries are getting smarter about going after digital piracy. They're collaborating more and sharing intelligence. We're seeing more targeted approaches, focusing on the root of the problem rather than broad, sweeping measures. Things like court orders to block access to specific websites known for hosting illegal content are becoming more common. This precision helps minimize collateral damage. Think of it as shutting down the worst saloons in town instead of burning down the whole damn town. It's a more refined approach, and there's a growing push for transparency. People are demanding to know the details. People want to know how these laws are being enforced and what impact they're having. This demand for openness is reshaping policies. After all, we don't want a digital Wild West, but we also don't want to live in a digital police state. The balance is crucial for a fair and open internet. Here's the thing about online piracy. It's not just some victimless crime. This isn't just about people downloading the latest Fast and Furious movie a few weeks early. We're talking about real economic consequences. When people access copyrighted content without paying for it, creators lose out on revenue, and that means less money to invest in making the movies, music, and software we all love. The impact of piracy is felt globally. Countries around the world are grappling with how to protect intellectual property rights in the digital age, and the solutions they come up with can have a ripple effect, influencing legislation and enforcement practices in other parts of the world. Section 4. Wrangling the Wild West. FADPA's implementation challenges. So, FADPA has its work cut out for it. But here's the thing about laws. They're only as good as their enforcement. And when it comes to the internet, enforcement is like trying to herd cats that are also hackers. One major challenge is circumvention. People are resourceful. If they really want to access blocked content, they'll find a way. VPNs, proxy servers, it's like a digital underground railroad for pirated content. Then there's the issue of over-blocking. Blocking access to entire websites can inadvertently catch legitimate content in the crossfire. It's like shutting down the whole saloon because one guy in the corner is sharing illegal poker winnings. Not exactly a surgical strike. Section 5. Across the pond European adventures and misadventures in piracy law. Let's hop across the pond for a moment and see how Europe has been handling the digital piracy showdown. Italy, for example, implemented a pretty aggressive site-blocking law. Seems to be working somewhat, but it's also been criticized for being a bit too quick on the draw when it comes to blocking. Portugal took a different tack, focusing on educating the public about the importance of respecting copyright. Results have been mixed, but it highlights an important point. Effective enforcement isn't just about punishment, it's also about changing behavior. Section 6. Tech to the rescue. Solutions and innovations in piracy prevention. Now before you start stockpiling DVDs like they're cans of beans for the apocalypse, let's talk solutions. The tech world isn't just standing around fiddling with their smartphones while the internet burns. There are some smart folks out there working on innovative ways to combat piracy. Streaming services, for example, have changed the game. They offer affordable and convenient access to a vast library of content, makes it a lot less tempting to go digging for illegal downloads when you can legally stream the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy for the price of a cup of coffee. And then there's blockchain technology. It has the potential to create more secure and transparent systems for managing digital rights, making it harder to pirate content in the first place. Section 7. The tightrope walk. Balancing rights and enforcement in the digital age. So, where does this all leave us? Well, it's complicated. The digital landscape is ever-changing, and with it, the rules and regulations must adapt. We want to protect the rights of creators and make sure they're compensated for their work. Artists, musicians, writers, and developers all deserve recognition and reward for their contributions, but we also want to preserve an open and accessible internet. A place where information flows freely, and innovation isn't stifled by overregulation. It's a delicate balance, like trying to walk a tightrope while juggling chainsaws and rubber chickens. Risky, messy, and prone to unexpected outcomes. One misstep, and the consequences can be severe. FADPA and other laws like it are part of this ongoing conversation. They aim to create a framework that can handle the complexities of the digital age. They represent an attempt to establish some order in the digital Wild West, a place where rules are still being written and rewritten. But as with any law, the devil is in the details. The fine print can make all the difference in how these laws impact our daily digital lives, how these laws are implemented, how they are enforced, and who gets to decide the rules, how transparent the process is, and how much input the public has, and how effectively they balance the rights of creators with the rights of users. Those are the questions we need to keep asking. It's a continuous dialogue that requires vigilance and participation from all stakeholders. Because the internet, like the Wild West, is always evolving. New technologies and platforms emerge, bringing new challenges and opportunities. And it's up to all of us to make sure it remains a place of innovation, creativity, and yes, even a little bit of healthy chaos. By working together, we can navigate this digital frontier and ensure it benefits everyone.